Hello and welcome to another episode of the Dumb and Dumbest Podcast, the music industry podcast where everything is terrible and the house is on fire. I'm Matt Bacon here with my beautiful, wonderful, radiant, glorious, balding co-host Curtis Dewar. I've done this all in one breath. We really should record this in advance, but Curtis, tell us, today we are talking about...
I just forgot what we were talking about. What are we talking about again, Matt?
God fucking damn it. Short songs.
Short songs, that's right. Well, we had to restart this so many times I lost complete track of what the fuck was going on.
Yes, we've been having some pretty extreme technical difficulties today.
Yeah, Matt's mic or computer or something kept messing up, so I totally
Maybe
lost
your
the
speakers
plot.
kept messing up. Did you consider that?
It could be my speakers too, but either way. So we're talking about short songs. I'm pro short songs. I'm assuming Matt is pro short songs.
I am pro short songs. That would have been pretty funny if we had opposing view on song length.
Well, here's the thing though, is that there's some instances long songs are good. Like there's that Dream Theater song that's like what, a 45-minute song or something like that. I like that one.
Yeah, well, I think, but again, I think we're not. The important thing with this podcast, and I think where certain people miss the plot, as it were, is that we're not talking in micro cases. We're talking in the macro, right?
Good point, Matt.
Like,
good point.
Like,
did you guys just see how Matt gave me shit?
When it comes down to it, like, I really don't give a shit that your friend's band had success doing it this particular way. Because guess what? That is not the norm,
mm-hmm.
And I'm not saying that you're always going to conform to the norm, but like people go back to the median 9 times out of 10. You know what I mean?
There's not, most stuff follows a pattern is what Matt's trying to say, and the pattern usually works. So that's why it's repeated.
Yeah, the pattern is there for a reason, and that's not a dig on anyone or anything.
Yeah.
It's just there is a pattern, and that's okay.
And people like patterns, so people buy patterns. People go back to patterns.
Yeah, and again, this is a podcast where the focus is money and band growth rather than, like, how do I write the best song? Although I would argue that the best songs tend to be shorter. Again, there are micro exceptions.
Yeah.
And I'm not going to deny that there's micro exceptions. But
we're not talking about grindcore right now, the 1 second songs, just if anybody wants to be an idiot about it.
Yeah. And again, even the best grindcore songs like tend to kind of follow pop structures, like Wolf Eye Feed by Napalm Death.
Yep.
That has a pop structure. Like, sorry to break it to you. Regardless, right? Now, the other thing I think is we see this a lot, especially in sort of the genres that Curtis and I are very focused in, sort of the doom and stoner thing. Yep. Like, no one cares if your song is over 4 minutes long. Like, I know that you want to, like, have it be your rock epic and have all these parts, but, like, the best songs, like, just pure songwriting, the best songwriting involves 1 or 2 ideas and variations on a theme. Like, plain and simple. I think that when you try to kind of go beyond 1 or 2 ideas and then variations on a theme, you're sort of it's over ambitious and it doesn't really do justice to what you're trying to do in most situations.
Totally. Now, another point too that that Matt won't be focusing on, but I just want to point out is if you have a super long album, it's really hard to get press for it because a lot of reviewers will see that it's like 10-minute long songs, 8-minute long songs, and there's 10 of them. They're just gonna say, "Fuck this! I don't have time to listen to it. I got too many other things to do."
There's absolutely no interest in. And you see that it's just normal people too. Like, I think that, like, there's a lot of bands who go out even after they've gotten big and they put out a extended track.
Yeah.
And nobody ends up caring because like when Sleep did it. Like, Sleep was a big band, but now they have the cult popularity and it's okay, but like nobody wants to hear super fucking long songs. I get that Stairway to Heaven is a great song, but you're not Jimmy Page.
And how many people actually listen to the entirety of a long song all the time? They might listen to a bit of it, but I really don't think too many people listen to the entirety of a long song.
Yeah, and unless you're, and I think the thing is people forget that someone like Yob, for example, who write very long songs, that's also a band. Their songwriting style kind of demands it. There's not a lot of dilly-dallying for lack of a better term, in a Yob song.
But Yob is also never going to get to be the size of Metallica, keep in mind, either, as a result.
Yeah, unless they dramatically change things. Yeah.
Yeah.
And
Metallica themselves didn't get mega big until they dropped the long song structure, too.
yeah,
I would like to add.
even now I'd argue their songs are too long.
Some of them are, I agree. Yeah, I agree.
But when Metallica adopted pop writing, they definitely moved another level forward. Yeah.
Yeah, they went from Injustice and All to the Black Album, which I don't like, but at the same time, I mean, Black Album sells like, what, 3,000 copies a week still? No,
5,000.
5,000, sorry, in 2018.
Yeah, it's
they did
insane.
something right, even though I don't agree with it, but hey.
Yeah, and again, these are just things to consider. Like, if you want people to listen to you, and then also, this is also just pure and simple, like, singles.
Yeah.
Like, I'm listening to music basically all day, right? Yeah. I'm sure you're the same, Curtis. And most people, most people consume music constantly, right? Mm-hmm. Like, they're not. That's what they do with their time when they're at work or whatever. Mm-hmm. So, okay, cool. Well, guess what? They're in the middle of, especially people in sort of the heavy music genre, are listening to albums. It's an album-oriented listening experience for most of us, right? Mm-hmm. So, like, if you show me your single, you're asking me to pause whatever I'm listening to, which I usually enjoy because I like what I listen to. I have a listening schedule for a reason, right? You're asking me to stop.
A listening schedule?
Yeah, I have a listening rotation.
That's hilarious. Okay, anyways.
No, this is not a joke. Every day I listen to the record for discography. I listen to a piece of classical music. I listen to a piece of jazz. I listen to a piece of blues. I listen to a piece of punk. I listen to a piece of 20th century popular music, and listen to the record I have to review.
I don't know if you're a genius or a geek. Maybe both.
I got that idea from my lawyer.
That's pretty funny.
But point being, so I'm listening to fucking an all-time classic, right? And you want me to stop for 10 minutes to listen to you dick around with your buddies. Like, that's not going to happen. Like, people aren't going to listen to your 10-minute single unless there's a huge fucking buzz.
Yeah.
Right? And that's sort of something I always push bands to do. It's also a case, I think, for getting into playlists and, like, gimme radio stuff. Yeah. I've had this conversation with other gimme radio hosts, like, especially with, like, the Doom stuff. Like, I don't want to feature a 10-minute long track because that's, I program basically 110 minutes of music, and if I give you a 10-minute long track, that's 9% of the program is just for you.
Yep.
Which, like, is fine if you're one of my favorite bands. Mm-hmm. But odds are I don't want to give you 9% of a program I'm supposed to put 25 bands on.
Yeah. And the other thing too, again, to keep in mind, I'm going to restate this. If you have too long of songs, reviewers aren't going to want to review it. People are not going to want to buy it just because a lot of people will take a look at the length of something and say, fuck this, not interested right now.
Yeah. And it's really just a question of the customer has more choice now than they've ever had before.
Yep.
And you can either be sympathetic to that and work with it, or you can whine.
And you can also look at it from the viewpoint of, if you have a choice to go to a 3-hour movie or an hour and a half long movie, which one are you going to usually pick? The hour and a half long movie.
And that's not because everyone is terrible. It's just because, I'm not going to a fucking hour and a half long or a 4-hour movie. Like,
or you got a 1,000-page book or a 500-page book. Which one are you more likely to pick up?
Unless you're the Lord of the Rings,
which is broken up into 3 books, I might add, because it was so freaking long.
Technically 6, but yes.
You know what I mean, but still, I just want to point that out.
Yeah, it's not exactly the the most simplistic thing. Like, that's just sort of how it is. So you need to either be compassionate to that and get wise to that, or be stuck wondering why no one gives a shit about your band.
Yeah, and that's just one of the factors. Make it easy for people to listen to the music, and one of the ways that you can do that is by making shorter songs that don't even necessarily have to be simplistic. But if you're looking to get commercial success, you're going to want to be more on the simplistic.
Yeah. And you need to be able to communicate your ideas effectively and quickly.
Yeah, there's a thing I read somewhere. I can't remember where it was, but apparently the most effective communicators communicate at, I think it was the 7th grade level.
Yeah,
So
exactly.
there you go. You wonder why Nickelback's popular? Look,
Because they're communicating on a very basic level. Anyway,
just saying.
That's just how it works. Unfortunately, I'm sorry that people don't have time for your fucking magnum opus.
Yeah.
Maybe one day they'll fucking give enough of a shit, but probably not. Because guess what? They are drowning in choice.
Yeah, that's the main thing you got to realize. They're drowning in choice, and if yours is longer, they're going to pick the shorty over the longer guy. But not 1 second songs, obviously, unless you're a grindcore band.
Yeah. Anyway, that's sort of our shtick for today. What do you have to plug, Curtis?
Today, I have a couple streams, actually. Well, I'm going to actually just plug only one of them right now because it's the only one that's out right now is Martyr Art. Have released a track over at Terra Relicta, and you're going to want to go check it out. And his album comes out in, what's the date today? 2 weeks. I think 2 weeks from today, if my math is correct. It's really cool. It's kind of like industrial metal type thing, 90s metal type thing. If you're into that, which I am, you'll enjoy it. So go check it out. And and I'll do another plug. Mention that I do have the 2-month special going on for my PR packages. So if you want to get a 2-month PR package, it's 15% off. I'm not doing it for 1 month. I'm not doing it for 3 months. 2-month packages, that's good until November 30th, whatever day Black Friday is, or Monday, or whatever the hell it is. And yeah, that's it.
Perfect. Beautiful. Meanwhile, Curtis and I are working on our webinar, which he read the manual for. So we're actually going to be able to work on that today. I don't know what that noise means, so I'm going to assume that's an I read the manual like Matt asked me to noise. Evidently, I was incorrect. Curtis and I will be working on that. Otherwise, I've got my band American Amnesia, one of the bands I rep, American Amnesia, are working on a new record, which I think will be very exciting. Again, we just had the November's Doom signing announcement over at Prophecy, and we have a couple more signing announcements being worked on that I'm very excited about.
That's awesome news, actually, on November's Doom.
Yep, that's really awesome, just because they're like icons after a fashion.
Yep.
So I'm very excited to be working with them. And yeah, I mean, most of the other stuff I can't really talk about yet, but it's going to be a wild ass rock and roll party when you find out. So,
which may or may not involve Blake Judd, right?
Jesus fucking Christ. Thank you for listening.
We done yet?